In this video, I'm showing you my 2 squat days of this volume block. I squat Monday and Thursday. Monday is a little bit easier in total with some box jumps, some squats, and then some hammer curls. While Thursday is more compound movements. I have my jumps and squats again, but a different variation with pause squats here. Then I have 2 big compound movements in hack squat and Zercher walking lunges. And what you're seeing here is actually my expression week, so the week where I'm supposed to max out. And you'll see a couple really nice volume PRs for me. Well, so what I'm doing here is I'm running 4-week waves. I'm running 3 of these waves in total, and each 4 weeks I have to pretty much max out. So the RPE and the weight, the intensity, everything over the course of the 4 weeks keep on rising. What I wanted to talk about is how I stay functional while lifting heavy. And being functional basically just means to be able to do whatever your life requires from you. So in theory, all strength training is functional training. But there's like a thing where like the bigger you get, it doesn't make you more functional, because you can have someone that is smaller than you and be a lot stronger, and he would be more functional, and he will probably also be able to move a lot better, so have a lot better mobility. But in theory, all training where you move your joint is functional training, even if it's just doing isolation things like bicep curls, triceps extension. It's all going to be things you use in a day. You can't do anything without using your arms, pretty much. So, but there's just things that's missing when you only do heavy lifts, use machines, or isolate joint function. So that is what I try to focus a lot on during my training. And these things include maintaining good mobility and joint biomechanics that we were born with, as well as athletic movements and rate of force development by jumping and sprinting. What I think miss the most in strength training is taking a joint or muscle through its full range of motion. So you might see that, or in general, people who are bodybuilders and they train with focus on a big ROM, so big range of motion. But you're never going to lift heavy in your absolute end range, so the passive range where your muscle can produce a lot of force and has a bigger risk of injury if anything goes wrong there. So I'm not saying that you need things like head to toe dislocations, shoulder dislocations with the hand fully together, or be able to get down in a full split or pancake. But I think that you need a certain degree of mobility, like being able to sit in a squat with your hips significantly below your knees, and be able to touch your palms to the floor with your legs straight, or have 180-degree shoulder flexion, a certain amount of internal and external rotation in the shoulder, and the same with the hips. But definitely also something when it comes to mobility that way is not necessary. I don't think that a lot of people would benefit from being able to do a full split unless it's something they really want or it's actually required for their training. So I think also honestly that mobility is a lot more important than just flexibility. So flexibility is just being able to get into the positions, which is of course required before you can do what mobility is, which is moving between your position, just moving how well you're moving your body. What I usually do when I have clients that I want to work with to improve their mobility, I talk with them about like how their mobility is now, like all flexibility in general, what position they're able to get into, how far away they are. And what we do then is we actually start without weight, because when we're just building up flexibility, I think it's good to start without weight, and then when you get a little bit more flexible, you can start to introduce weight into that position where you can now come into, but still start slowly, because it's a new it's a new stress that you're not used to and your body haven't adapted to. And then, so I never make people do things that the end range don't allow them to do with heavy weights. And when I train people, try to improve their mobility, flexibility, stuff like that, I don't think it's good to go heavy or go close to failure. For example, there's no point in loading a ATG split squat or seated good morning really heavy. But I still think that it's good to have the ability to be there comfortably and bear a little bit of load in the position, because that is going to happen throughout life and jobs in general, and will help you avoid injuries, things like that. Also, another thing that I haven't mentioned yet that it will do when you train through the full joint RUM is also increase the tendon stiffness, which is good because it allows for better force production, and it can actually, let's say your Achilles tendon, you increase the strength of that. So through strength like just squatting in general, tibialis raises, stuff like that, and producing force, so and calf raises. Then you can actually also walk faster because you can generate more force with a stiffer tendon. But a stiff tendon can also that can produce more force. It also more injury prone if a lot of load is put on it. That's why you see basketball players who have strong tendons and are really strong in general that end up getting injured very often, or the same with NBA players, NFL players. All those people have a lot of injuries because they progress their training too fast and just are focusing so much of always competing at the very highest level, where they don't really have time to recover during the season. So the next thing I actually wanted to talk about was leaving room for improvement. And what I mean here is that you don't just want to start all out in a block, even if you let's say you feel really good in the beginning of a training block, in the first week of a new mesocycle, and you have planned a weight that you're going to hit at RPE 6. If you feel like you can do more weight than that at the RPE, it's not always a good idea to actually do so. Sometimes it's a good idea to just stick to the RPE because it's more kind of a range you want to be in, and then actually keep some energy for later in the block, because by going a little bit too heavier, it's still going to be actually a PR, an ability PR. So it's the heaviest you've been able to lift at that RPE if you decide to do so. But you want to save, honestly, all your RPEs for at the end of the block when you're supposed to peak, maybe before a meet, that could be. And then another thing I also wanted to mention is with accessory work especially, it's totally unnecessary to actually make PRs if you're doing more work in your stuff before that, because what is going to matter is the whole workload that you do, and doing more on the main lifts also means that you're going to be doing more a higher workload in general, even if you're doing the same on the accessory stuff. That's something I think a lot of people underestimate, leaving the room for improvement. What this will do when you're able to stick to a plan and do it as you have written it down. It will also build your momentum for the weeks to come, and you will probably see a lot better progress when seen over months and years. Anyways, if you've been looking at the screen here, you see that right now I'm doing my pause squat. So this is my heavier day. I did some jumps for. Also, I think everyone should be jumping as well. It's probably the most athletic movement, it is the most athletic movement you can do, because you're using your whole lower body, your glute medius, your glute maximus, your quadriceps, your your hamstrings, all of the biggest muscles in the body. And then we have these pause squats. I've never done just one single set of 6 with 135 kg. So almost hitting 4 sets of 6, and with how hard this first set was, feel like I've been 9.5. It's crazy that I was able to almost get all 4 sets. You see, when I pause, it's like 2 or 3 seconds. I like to keep my pauses really strict. And one thing I like to say is that you should pause like you mean it. So really sit down there, force your body down on your hamstrings, down on the calves, and make sure all the build up tension in the tendons actually disappears. So you're relying totally on muscle strength only. So that was a really nice PR to get, even though it's really frustrating when you fail the last rep of the last set because it's so close. But I was way closer than I expected. And as I said, if I can get what I want to in the very last block in 4 weeks, where I'm supposed to get 4 sets of 4 pause with 145, then it's all gonna be good anyways. So here I'm doing some hack squats, and as you can see, I'm doing these unbroken. The reason I'm doing them unbroken is because it just keeps me less fatigued, especially when doing lower body stuff. Let's say I could do, in this set, maybe I could do 18 reps if I didn't keep it unbroken in the first set here. So maybe I would do 9 reps, then I would do another 4, another 3, and then 2. Right? Then I'm getting a lot more of these really, really slow reps than I would get if I just kept on going. I could maybe only get 13 otherwise. And that is gonna be reps that almost feels like an RP9, all of them. But because I take a little break, I can maybe get another one at RP9, and another one, and then one at RP10. So that's gonna make me more fatigued, which I think it can be a good thing, especially for beginners. But when you start to get better and you wanna minimize the fatigue you cause from an all-out set, then doing all of those rest pauses in between, it's gonna take too much energy away from you. You'll see that my hack squats here, I like to keep them really, really slow. So whenever I do my hypertrophy work, as I've talked about before, I take it slow on the way down, 3 to 4 seconds down, and then all control, full push on the way up. I actually also try to keep my nasal breathing for as long as I can, because I think that's a good idea. So the last rep there actually looks fast, but trust me, it was extremely hard. Then at the end, moving on to these Zercher walking lunges. Honestly, this is one of those exercises that just always hard, even if you don't go close to failure. It just challenges you in so many ways. In terms of stability, of course, your legs are working. It's a unilateral movement, which is going to be very functional, and you're carrying stuff, which is just good, really good for a lot of things. So it strengthens your whole midsection to keep the bar up. It strengthens your shoulders, your upper back, your traps. So basically almost like a full body exercise, which is also why I don't like to really go close to failure on this any longer, because if I go close to failure, I'm gonna be dead for my deadlift 2 days later. But yeah, in general, this has been a really good week of training, and yeah, I think that leading into this next week with a deload, is the most important thing. Is of course going to be getting a good amount of sleep and recover. Probably, and I'll have my jumps to kind of tell me where I'm at with my training, how the recovery is going. If my jumps on Monday next week is really good, then I know I've recovered well. Anyway, that is all for this video.